There's a lot of talk at the moment about kicking Israel and even its allies out of the United Nations. But can they be kicked out of the United Nations? Let's get into it. Article 5 of the UN Charter deals with suspension. Article 6 of the UN Charter deals with expulsion. But both of those require that the UN Security Council makes a recommendation that then goes to the UN General Assembly. So drumroll please, we are back at the Security Council and the power of veto that the US holds, and clearly the United States would not let such a Security Council recommendation go ahead. It's as though the powerful states in 1945 created a hierarchical structure that served their own interests. Who would have believed it? There is the South Africa precedent, when the General Assembly essentially deemed the state to be an apartheid state and didn't renew its credentials. It wasn't suspended from the United Nations, but it was suspended from the United Nations General Assembly for over a decade. As the United Nations turns 80, I don't see this happening anytime soon, but it's not impossible. There would just have to be enough pressure put on the General Assembly states and enough evidence that Israel is functioning as an apartheid state. And of course, that may lead the US to walk out. And before you think, well, that'd be a great thing, just remember, the United Nations is a collective security system. The League of Nations failed because it didn't have enough power. When it was created, the hope was that these would act as the great responsibles. But tragically, they are acting as the great irresponsibles. They are great power perpetrators, and it's undermining the moral authority of the United Nations itself. And furthermore, they're not even giving the United Nations the money it needs at the moment. This creates a financial crisis. So that means the UN can't do as much as it needs to do, which therefore further undermines its moral authority, and this vicious cycle is getting worse. Anyway, I'll be talking more about this on the Sunday programme on BBC Radio 4 this Sunday at 7 AM. In the meantime, I'll ask you this question. How would you reimagine the United Nations if you were to just tear it up and start again? And more specifically, what would you do about power? Because the League of Nations failed precisely because it didn't have enough of it.